Hello, this is Katherine Mogford doing her baby yoga practical video. So I am here today and I'm going to be doing the yoga baby moves for my yoga practical. I'm going to be looking at younger babies, which is roughly 8 weeks to 16 to 20 weeks, depending on their development. I'm going to be looking at the limbs, and then for older babies, which is the 16 to 20 weeks plus, I am also going to be looking at the limbs. With a regular class, I would start with some introductions, I would start with some stretches, I would start with a bit of baby massage to make sure that everyone is happy and comfortable. We're going to go over some cautions and some benefits to start with as well. We're going to be mindful of those resistance points in babies, making sure that we stop at those resistant points each time and not overstretching little one. We're going to make sure that all moves we are repeating on both sides so that they are evenly balanced. And with these moves, we're going to be working on that muscle tone. We're going to be working on the body control. We're going to be looking at their coordination and making sure that we are working on some of those reflexes like stepping and walking and the Moro reflex. So I am going to start with the younger baby moves. As I said, this is from roughly 8 weeks to 16 to 20 weeks, depending on baby's developmental checks. Our first move is going to be the tummy tuck massage. We are going to be starting this move supporting baby under both of their ankles. We're going to be stretching those legs out. Then we're going to be bringing those knees into that tummy again, making sure of those resistance points that we stop at that resistance point. We are then going to be holding that there for a second or two before we go in a clockwise circle, gently rotating those knees around. Now, this is the only move that is going to be covered today that is an exception to the balance rule for younger babies. We are only going to be doing this in a clockwise direction to make sure that we are going in with the flow of baby's digestive system. We're not going to be going anti-clockwise because those knees are going to be brushing across that tummy, and we don't want to be going in the opposite flow of baby's digestive system. Once we've done that for 20 seconds, we're going to gently drop those legs out to that stretch and lower them and give babies that 10 seconds of rest before repeating roughly 4 times in total. All of these moves are going to be having that 20 seconds of active movement before the 10 seconds of rest, and all of them are going to be repeated 4 times. Our next move is called the tummy twist. For this, we're going to be supporting those legs under that ankle, those ankles again. We're going to be bringing those legs out straight and then tucking those knees into that tummy again, stopping at that point of resistance. We're going to be holding it there for a second or two before we gently bring those knees over to one side. We're then going to be holding that there at that point of resistance for a second or two, making sure that that one knee has crossed the midline before bringing back into the middle again and holding there for a second or two before repeating on the other side. And again, then we're going to hold that there, then bring back into the middle, and we're going to be repeating that for that 20 seconds of movement before stretching back out those legs and giving them that 10 seconds of rest with lots and lots of eye contact and lots of praise for having done so well. Again, making sure that that is repeated 4 times in total. Our next move is called the bicycle stretch. This is going to be working on baby's stepping and walking reflex. We're going to be supporting those legs at that ankle and at those ankles, then making sure that we are doing a movement like riding a bike. We're going to be doing that cycling rotation for 10 seconds before we then balance it out with a backwards cycling movement for 10 seconds so that this is balanced out evenly. Again, making sure to only go to those resistance points. And then at the end, we're going to straighten those legs out and back down to that rest for 10 seconds with that eye contact, making sure that we do that 20 seconds of movement, 10 seconds of rest before repeating 4 times in total. Our next move is called the half lotus. This is going to be bringing those legs across the midline to help baby with their brain development and their coordination. We are going to be supporting one leg first with our opposite hand, and we are going to be gently bringing that leg up and over to that opposite hip, and then sliding our other hand into support at baby's hip, making sure again that we only go to that resistance point, but that we're bringing that leg up and across baby's midline. We're going to be then holding it there for a few seconds, making sure that our other hand is under their hip to support, before we gently lower that leg back out with a little stretch, and then repeat on the other side. Again, bringing that leg up into that half lotus position, holding it there with that hand as support, before stretching it back out. Again, with that 20 seconds of movement, and then 10 seconds of rest and praise, then repeating 4 times in total. Our next move is called the foot prayer. For this one, we're going to be supporting both feet at the ankles. We're going to be bringing those feet gently together, making sure those knees, they can bend, and we're going to drop those feet gently in towards baby. Again, only to that point of resistance. We don't want to be forcing it past that resistance point. We're going to be holding it there for a few seconds before letting those feet stretch back out and rest. So again, it's going to be that 20 seconds of repeating that movement, holding those legs in and back out, before that 10 seconds of rest and praise and 4 times repetition. Our next move is called the toe trail. This is going to be working on baby's flexibility over time as we stretch through the legs. We're going to be supporting those legs just above the ankle on those calves. We're going to be bringing those feet up towards baby's face, but only to the point of resistance. We're going to be holding for a few seconds and then dropping back down. With this, we're going to make sure that we keep baby's back on the floor at all times. The bottom can lift ever so slightly off the floor, but we're going to make sure that that back is on the floor at all times. We don't want to be lifting baby up and having them up on their shoulders and damaging those necks. So it's just that gentle lift, making sure the back stays on the floor, up towards baby's face, and then back down again. And again, we're going to be only going to that point of resistance, not forcing it. And as we develop this move over time, we are going to be getting baby closer and closer up towards their face. We're going to be doing that 20 seconds of movement with 10 seconds of rest, and that repetition 4 times. Our next move is called the big kiss. This is going to be working on baby's diagonals, helping them with development for walking and crawling. We're going to be supporting one of baby's legs just above the ankle, and we're going to be supporting the opposite arm on their forearm. To start with, we are going to be bringing that foot to that hand in the middle, holding it there and stretching back out. Our next one is going to be bringing that knee in to meet the hand in the middle and then stretching back out. And then our final one is going to be bringing that foot to meet the inside of baby's elbow on their opposite arm, and then stretching back out and relaxing, and then repeating on the opposite side. So it's supporting under that ankle and supporting that forearm as we bring the foot and the hand to meet in the middle. And then it's the knee to the hand in the middle. And then finally, it's that foot into baby's elbow crease and back out. Again, making sure we're conscious of those resistance points and that we repeat on both sides so that it's balanced with that 20 seconds of action and 20 seconds of rest. Our next move is called the high ground. For this one, we're going to be supporting baby's legs nice and loosely under their calves. We're going to be stimulating baby's Moro reflex with this one, because we're going to be holding those legs, supporting them, and then letting them drop to the ground. The caution with this one is that the dolls obviously have no reflex. They are just going to clonk their legs back onto the floor, as where babies will have that initial sudden drop, and then that Moro reflex kicks in as that startle, and then they will hopefully lower that last bit down to the ground a lot more slowly. And then we're going to give them lots and lots of praise, lots of reassurance once they have done it. And again, we're going to be repeating that 4 times. Our last move for those younger babies is called the I love you this much. We're going to be working on those arms. We're going to be holding those forearms, stretching them out to the side, opening that chest. Then we're going to be bringing those arms across baby's chest like they're giving themselves a nice big hug, making sure we take note of which arm is on the top because we're going to be wanting to balance that move out. We're going to be holding it there for a few seconds, stretching back out to the side, and then repeating again, bringing that opposite arm onto the top this time so that both sides are balanced before bringing those arms and stretching them back out. We're going to repeat that for that 20 seconds of action with that 10 seconds of rest afterwards with all that praise and repeating it 4 times in total. We are now going to move on to the older baby's limbs moves. So for this one, again, it is the same cautions with not overstretching, only going to that point of resistance. And again, we're going to be working on lots of those reflexes. We're going to be building those strength and tone in those muscles. And we're even going to be working on some of those core muscles for this one and that flexibility. We are going to be doing some development moves, such as this one, which is our tiny twists 2. We are going to be gathering those hands and feet up. We're going to be bringing one hand up first. We're then going to be bringing the other hand up to meet that hand in the middle, holding onto them. We're going to bring one foot up and hold onto that one. We're then going to bring that final foot up, and we are going to be supporting all those hands and feet with both of our hands. We are then going to be doing a gentle roll to the side, holding it there, and then doing another gentle roll back to the middle before rolling again to the opposite side, making sure that it's balanced out. Now for the younger babies, we're going to go nice and slowly with this one, holding it each time. As we develop those babies, as they get a bit older, we can go a bit faster and a bit more fluid with this movement. Now this is a great movement for those developmental checks to see if baby's ready for these older moves. If, as we turn baby, their head is moving with the body, they are ready for these next lot of moves. If, however, baby's head is staying straight and flat and not moving with the body, they are not ready for these moves yet, and we should move them back to those younger baby moves. Our next move is called the twist and roll. This is one of those milestone moves, teaching baby to roll and roll over onto their front. So for the younger babies, we're going to be using one hand to go to that opposite leg. We're going to be taking hold of that leg and bringing it across the midline of the body with that foot going to that opposite hand. We're going to be sliding our arm up under their other opposite side, and we're going to be rotating that body up so that the foot is flat to the floor. And then if baby doesn't make any movements from there, we're going to hold it for a few seconds and then rotate back down again. If when we roll that baby to the hip and then onto the floor, the foot onto the floor, if they are making movements to roll over, we can then bring this hand from supporting and slide it down to the other leg that is on the floor, and using a scissor movement we can help baby rotate onto their front. And again, with all of our moves, we're going to be doing it on both sides, repeating to make sure that it is balanced. And again, we're going to be doing that 20 seconds of action, 10 seconds of rest, with lots and lots of reassurance for baby as they roll. This is a fantastic move for helping baby roll over, and a great one that can help build with that progression with that assisted roll. Our next move is called the bear hug. This is going to be working on those diagonals. We are going to be supporting the leg just above the ankle on that calf. We're going to be supporting the opposite arm on that forearm. We're going to stretch through that diagonal, and then we are going to bring that leg into the half lotus position. So that foot is going to the opposite hip. And then we are going to be bringing that arm across to the opposite armpit. We are going to be holding it there for a few seconds before we then release and stretch out those diagonals, and then repeat on the other side. So it's supporting that leg and arm, bringing that foot into the opposite hip for its half lotus, and then bringing the arm across to the opposite armpit, holding again, and then releasing out to those diagonals. Again, we're going to be repeating that for 20 seconds. We're going to be having that 10 seconds of rest, and then we are going to be repeating that 4 times. Our next move is called the push bike. Now for this one, I am going to be doing it slightly differently. Grown-ups would be holding feet, would not be holding feet, but would be supporting them with flat hands against the soles of those feet, ready to do those moves. But because the demo doll has no resistance and no support, I am going to be using my thumbs to support to make sure we get the movement, but grown-ups would just be going with baby's natural resistance. So it is just like our bicycle stretch, but with that support, with just the support against the soles of those feet. We are going to be doing that bicycle movement for 10 seconds in one direction, and then we are going to be reversing it for the next 10 seconds so that we are balanced out, doing both ways, before we then gently relax and have that 10 seconds of rest and lots of praise, and then repeating again 4 times. Our next move is called the baby bicep. For this one, we are going to be using baby's palmar grasp reflex. We're going to be putting our index fingers in the palm of baby's hand so that they hold on nice and tight. We are then, however, so that baby doesn't go crashing to the floor, going to be wrapping our thumbs around their wrists to make sure that they have that support just in case they do let go. We are, for this one, going to be doing a gentle raise, just lifting baby a couple of centimetres off the floor and holding them there. And then once we've done that couple of seconds, we can gently lower them back to the ground. This is another one that has an extra bit for those babies that are starting to develop further. When we do that raise up, lifting babies that couple of centimetres off the floor, if we can see little ones are trying to pull themselves up, we are gently going to assist them, helping them pull themselves up into that seated position. We are going to hold them there until they start to wobble. Once they start to wobble, we're going to gently lower them back down to the ground. And again, we're going to give them then lots and lots of praise because they have done fantastically well with that 10 seconds of rest before repeating again. Our next move is called the baby bridge. We're going to have babies side on for this one, and this is one that is going to be promoting flat feet for walking. For this one, we are going to make sure that we have baby's feet flat on the ground. We are going to support them with one hand with those knees bent up into the air and the feet flat on the ground. We're then going to use our other hand to slide it underneath baby's bottom, and we're just going to be doing a very slight, very gentle lift. We don't want to be lifting it too far because we do want the majority of baby's back to stay on the floor so that we are not causing any damage to that neck. Once we have held it there for a few seconds, we are going to gently lower that back down and then stretch those legs out. Again, we're going to be doing that then 10 seconds of rest before repeating again, doing that repetition 4 times in total. Our next move is called toes to nose. We're going to have babies in a seated position in front of us for this one so that they are supported by our bodies. We are going to be supporting those legs under those ankles, and then to start with one leg at a time, we're going to be bringing those toes up towards those noses. Knees can bend a little if they want, making sure that we stop at that point of resistance. We're then going to lower it back down and repeat with the other foot, again only to that point of resistance, before lowering again, at which point we're then going to do both feet up together, hold and back down, again with that 20 seconds of action, 10 seconds of rest with lots and lots of praise before repeating 4 times in total. Our final one is a lovely way to finish the class off, as it is a bit of fun. We are going to be doing wind the bobbin up. We're going to be winding the bobbin one way. We're going to be doing our pulls. We're going to be doing our claps. We're going to be winding the other way. We're going to be doing our pulls, our claps. We're going to be pointing to the ceiling, pointing to the floor, pointing to the window, pointing to the door, and putting those hands on those knees. As we go, wind the bobbin up, wind the bobbin up, pull, pull, clap, clap, clap. Wind it back again, wind it back again, pull, pull, clap, clap, clap. Point to the ceiling, point to the floor, point to the window and point to the door. Clap your hands together, 1, 2, 3. Put your hands down on your knees. And this is a lovely way to finish, nice and soothing, a bit of fun for the grown-ups, a bit of fun for the babies, and lots of love and rest. Fantastic, and that brings us to the end.